Hey guys, Ed here. Welcome back, guys, to Models and Beer. This is going to be part 7 to our Tamiya US self-propelled 155mm gun, the M40, okay? And on our last video, guys, we pretty much completed the hull. We got pretty much everything done on this, and now we're ready to get to the business end of this gun, the gun itself. Okay. Last video, we did get our spade assembly on there, and we got all its rigging complete. And yeah, what a challenge that was. If you haven't seen that one yet, guys, go back and check out the video prior to this one, and that'll kind of catch you up, okay? Because we got quite a bit done. We got our tracks put on. Like I said, our spade installed and rigged with the pulleys and the string. We got our winch installed, and yeah. Oh, and our platforms, but we're not going to be putting those on yet. There's our platforms here. Those are going to be going on the rear of our M40 hull, okay? So let's get this out of the way, guys, and let's take a look. We're moving into this barrel assembly, and we are going to be starting off on step 29, okay? And I do have these pieces already cut out, cleaned up, and ready to go, and here they are here. And our kit provided screwdriver, because we got some screws we're going to be using, okay, to install these little guys here. Now both of these are numbered as a G37, so it doesn't matter which side they go on, they're the exact same thing, okay? So let's go ahead. It shows us screwing these in from the inside and on both of those here. So let's go ahead and get these screwed in, and then we'll see what's next. We'll be right back. Okay, a lot of the parts that we're going to be using for this gun assembly contains a bunch of tiny little parts, and they are in this plastic bag here. So what I'm going to do for safekeeping, I'm just going to dump all of this into a container with a lid, so we don't lose any of these parts. Like I said, there's a lot of tiny little screws and nuts and things like that in there. So we're going to keep this where we don't lose any of that stuff. We'll keep it safe in that container there. So, alright guys, let me go ahead. Let's find these two screws, and let's get those installed. Alright guys, one thing worthy of notation, this little screwdriver is magnetized, okay? So yeah, that's going to help a lot as far as, because these screws are tiny, and that'll help a lot as far as freeing a hand to use the other to hold the part, right? Alright, so let's see here. Let's start with this one here, and it is directional, guys. It does have these 2 pins, and those will be going right in here like this. And we're going to screw this in from this back side. There we go. Okay, I got that one in. Excuse me, my voice is not working this morning. It does protrude out the other side. Okay, so I imagine we're going to be adding something onto that later. I did go ahead and put some plastic cement behind this part G37. When you put this screw in, guys, you're screwing into plastic, and there is no threads within the plastic, okay? So you can just sit there and it'll just keep spinning and spinning and spinning. So I went ahead and put some plastic glue in there to secure this piece here, only because I don't think that screw, like I said, it has nothing to grab to, so it's not really going to secure this piece tightly. So I did add a little bit of plastic glue to that, and I'm going to do the same thing on this one. So let's go ahead and get some plastic or some cement on this one. Okay guys, successfully got both those pieces on here. Those are the G37, and we both got those screwed in. Now they do get screwed in from the back, okay, so the threads are going to be exposed to the outside, and like I said, I imagine as we're moving forward something's going to be getting attached to those. But anyways, those are done there, and now let's move into over here. We're going to be joining those two pieces. However, we do have some pieces going in between. So let's locate spot G16 and G22. Alright guys, I just test fitted part G16 and it fits nice. And it's got a little tab in there, so it's easy to know where that guy lives. So we'll go ahead and set that one in there. And it looks as though the detail end of this piece is to the outside, or facing out. And like I said, it's got a tab and it sets into there, so you can't really mess that up. You run just a little along this edge here. Cool. Let's give that a minute. Okay guys, I do have these two pieces together. I have not glued it yet, but it took me a few minutes to get that lined up because we got that centerpiece here, that G16 that we had put in, and I think I got everything where it needs to be right now. So let's go ahead and secure this. Let's commit to it. There we go. And it is a nice tight fit. I can see absolutely no daylight out of that. That is a perfect fit. Alright, cool, check it out. Alright, let's let that set up really quick, and then we'll add this this front piece here. Okay, and let's install this part G22, and it sets right on the end of this thing. Yeah, there we go. Alright. Let's give that a few moments to set up. Okay guys, so this is part D86, and it's going to sit right on these two tabs right here. Very simple. There we go. Okay, so now it's got us putting part G15 into this assembly that we just made, which kind of closes this in is what it does. And I did do a test fit, and it does fit nice. However, you do have to kind of squeeze the two parts together, otherwise it'll fall in. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Let's get the glue everywhere we need it here. Yeah, so what I did is because it's a little bit far apart. If you try to just put it in, it'll just fall, okay? And you got these grooves there, so if you kind of squeeze this together a little bit, and it'll grab on that way, and then just take it all the way back, and it is in, just like that. And I'm going to sit and hold this for just a few moments. Actually, let me run a little bit of bead across the top of this too, just for good measure. There we go. Alright, I'm going to hang on to this just a couple minutes just to let that set. Alright guys, so we got part D82 here, and it does appear to be directional. So let me get this picked up here. One side has these little ridges sticking out, and those are going to face to the outside, okay, according to instructions. So just make sure you pay attention to that. There we go. And I did do a test fit, guys. It's a nice fit. No issues. And we'll seat that all the way home. Just like so. And then we got another one going right up against that one there. And the next one is D81. So let me locate that and get that cut out. Alright, so D81 is the same way. It has those same notches. However, they face the opposite direction, facing the other ones that we... Let me just show you. It'd be easier than trying to explain it. Let me get a little glue in here. Alright, so those notches right there need to be facing D82. Let me get it in there. There we go. And you can see they're facing each other on the inside there. Alright, very cool. So far, problematic free, guys. Everything's fitting just as it should. Alright. So now we need to locate part D94, okay? And that looks like it's going to set right inside of this hole right here on that D86 part. So let's locate that. Alright guys, I got part D94 cut out and cleaned up. And let's see if we can do this without losing it. And it doesn't seem to be directional. There we go. Alright, so this is part G18, and according to the instructions, it goes into the side of this piece that we were just building, and it locks into this front end. So it looks like these two top dimples there, and then the bigger end is going to go inside of that hole there. So let's see how that works out. Let me get a little bit of glue on here. There we go. Yeah, so far everything is fitting perfect. No fit issues whatsoever. So I don't anticipate a problem with this one either. So let me get this top piece pushed in first. How about that? That might be the best way to handle that. Like that. There we go. Hell yeah, it looks good. Alright, cool. Alright, and this is part G5, which is going to go in the exact same way as G18 did. So let me get a little bit of glue in here. And then it has a little tip going into this little hole right at the end. I know you can't make that out. Alright. And I'm going to use my big old fumbly fingers here, guys, so you're not going to see a whole lot. And that goes just like that. Yeah, perfect. Just like that. Alright, so that completes everything in step 29. And that completes our cradle, is what this part is, a cradle. And yeah, everything went together exceptionally well. I had no issues, no fit issues whatsoever with this. So we're all done with the cradle for the moment. We'll go ahead and set that to the side. And that puts us into step 30, which we're going to start working on our gun mounts. Okay. So let me go ahead and locate part G41 and G30, and let's get those cleaned up. Alright, so we got some drilling to do, guys. On G41 and G30, we have two locations on each one where we need to drill some holes, and then on part G10, we have a hole that needs to go there. So let's go ahead and knock that out. I got the drill here all ready to go, and you can make out the areas there that we need to drill out. So let's go ahead and do that really quickly. Alright, perfect. So we need to glue part G11 into G41. Actually, you know what? Let me test fit that really quick, just so we don't have any surprises. Alright, yeah, that fits. I do have a little bit of a burr on here, though, I need to take care of. There we go. And that goes just like that. Don't get no simpler than that, guys. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay guys, so this is part D28 and it needs to set into that slot right there. I know it's probably hard to see on camera, but it has a groove for it to set into. And it locks in. You can feel it once it hits that spot. And it's kind of hard to tell where it's setting because it's right on a curved piece there. So I don't know if I am parallel there. I mean, that looks pretty close. We'll go with that. And then we got this piece here. And oh, that's that piece we drilled that hole into. Okay. And that needs to go. Is it in this top piece? Like this? Hang on guys, let me double check my instructions before we commit to that. I'll be right back. Okay guys, I got it figured out. It goes into these two ends right there, these two. Yeah, sometimes the instructions are confusing, but after some dry fitting and a little bit of extra research on the instruction page, I think we got it figured out. That'll go just like that. And then everything else we're going to have to line up into this piece as we close it over. So that should be interesting. But I think we'll let this set up just a little bit, but not to the point where it's not movable. That way when we go to join this one, if we need to adjust a little bit back and forth, we'll be able to do that. So let's set the sit here for just a few moments. And while that's resting, let's locate G29. Alright, found it. It's some type of a gear from what it looks like, and it says not to glue this piece here. So we're going to want it movable, and I believe it sets in there like that. And now the fun part, let's see if we can get this thing sandwiched together without much issue. Let's see how this goes. We're just doing a dry fit right now, guys. I just want to make sure everything's going to line up as it should. Yeah, I think we got it, guys. Everything looks like it's in its place. And I'm not pulling it back apart. We're going to glue it just like it is. Well, that went easier than I thought it would. We don't want no glue on that gear, so let's stay away from that guy. I'll tell you, so far working with this kit here, it's been a very satisfying, relaxing build. Other than earlier with those pulleys that we were dealing with, everything has been a great fit and really problematic free. All right, I'm going to hold that just a few moments. Yeah, I'm surprised everything lined right up like it was supposed to when we sandwiched those two together. I kind of thought for sure we were going to be fighting, you know, wiggling those pieces around to find their home on their adjoining piece, but everything went right together. Beautiful. All right, guys, let's let that sit and set up. All right, then we just got this piece here, guys. This is part G28. I did do a test fit, and it fits perfectly. There we go, just like that. How cool. Alright, so we're on step 31, and we need to make two of these. They're both identical parts, G32 and G31, and they contain poly caps. So we need two poly caps for each set of this that we're making. Funny thing is, it doesn't tell you the size of the poly caps throughout this build. I'm assuming that it's these here because they're about the only ones that are small enough to fit into those holes that they go into. But yeah, there's several sizes of poly, and you can see it here in my mess of stuff that I took out of that envelope. But you can see the poly caps there, and I think there's like 3 different sizes. But each time you get to a part, all it says is poly cap, and it does not give you a part number or a size or anything like that. See, now this looks like it's going to be a bigger one once we move into this next step, and here's a smaller one. So I'm assuming it's these because they're the only ones that will fit into that hole there. So let's go ahead and make two sets, or yeah, a set of two sets, and each one of these gets 2 of the poly caps. It says do not glue the poly cap, so I'm assuming they need to rotate within these parts here. So I'm not going to be using my extra thin because I don't want to leak in there and glue these in place, right? I want them to be able to be free and to spin if that's what they're needing to do. So I'm going to use CA where I have more control over to where that goes. So let's go ahead and get those assembled. Yeah, the CA that I'm using is the Gorilla Glue Super Glue, and it's a thick glue, a thick CA, so it's not a real runny one, so that's why I said I'll have more control over where we get the glue on this here. So let's go ahead and get these little poly caps in here. There we go. Now let's see if we can get this to close up without those flopping out of place. Alright guys, we got those completed. The poly caps are inside of there, and we got her sealed up and cleaned up and ready for assembly. So let's go ahead and set these over here with our other sub-assemblies, and let's take a look here. We got build 2 of these things. It's got several parts to it. Let me go ahead and we'll do one on camera, and the other one I'll do off camera just to save time because they're both identical. Okay, so let me get these parts out. We'll be right back. Alright guys, here are our parts. And I got a little bit of cleanup to do here. I thought I had all that taken care of. Getting ahead of myself. Alright, and these get the medium-sized poly caps. There's 3 different sizes, and I'm just going by fit because, like I said, it doesn't tell you what size. It doesn't give you a call out for the size, but that one does fit in there perfectly, so I guarantee you that's the one that belongs in there. That's the medium-sized one that they supply us with. And then let's see here. Give me 1 second to look these directions over. I don't want to get this wrong. Okay, so this G40 goes on to these piece here, and it's got a little protrusion line here that will accept that piece. So let's go ahead and get some glue on here, and you can see the receiving end right there. So we can only get that on one way. We can get it lined up here. Just a little bit more around that just to be sure that that's grabbing. There we go. Alright. And then these two just looks like they go together, and yeah, I don't think we got too much further to go, guys, on this build here. And that goes like that. Perfect fit. And this is the cap here on the end. I do got a little bit of cleanup I need to do on that. Let me do that really quick. Yeah, right. Yeah, that just caps this end off right here is what that does. And I got one more of these I need to make, but like I said, I'm going to do that off camera. It's made the exact same way as this one. Alright, cool. There we have it. Let me build that second one. Alright, and there we go. Got them both assembled. And yeah, here's all our sub-assemblies that we've made up to this point here for our gun. And I did mark these left and right, guys. You can see L and R, simply because on the instructions it showed it as a right and a left. They look identical to me, other than maybe they're mirrored. I think that might be the reason for it. So I did mark those left and right just to save myself confusion down the road. So, alright guys, so let's end this video right here. It's around that time. Watch for the next video. We're going to pick right back up when we left off. We just completed step 31. And let me see here. And the next step will be moving on to step 32, where we're going to start doing some assembly here with our sub-assembly, start assembling things and making it look like something, right? So yeah, we'll get into all this on the next video. So guys, once again, I appreciate you following along. Yeah, it's been a nice build so far, up and you know, I keep saying this, up to the point of those little tiny pulleys on that spade. Other than that, it's been a fun build, and everything has fit together well. It really has. So it's a great kit. I'm having a lot of fun. So alright guys, everybody have a great week, and like I said, we'll pick things up on the next video right where we left off. Okay, thanks again guys for watching and following along. I appreciate you. Have a great week guys. Bye bye.